I need to get my life right. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is The Nutshell with another review of a Nigerian movie called Cold Feet. Okay, this was on Netflix. As you know, we're all in quarantine and we're all binging on Netflix shows, and with everything going on in the world, aka Black Lives Matter, but that's put aside. For me personally, I just like being invested in the culture. But okay, like, you know what's going on in Africa, not only what's going on in the States, because let's just be honest, that's not the only place where Africans or people of African descent be killing it. So without further ado, let's just get to the review. Oh, did you see what I did? The Rhythm and Flow, sign me up. I'm the next star. I'm the next winner on the show. Anyways, forget all this clowning around. So first of all, let's just start with the main characters and the actors who portray them. I don't remember their names, y'all, so you have to please forgive me. So we have, and I'm going to butcher the names, I'm so sorry, but please bear with me. I think his name is Enina Wigwe. I've forgotten the name of the character that he plays. And Jim Ike, Jocelyn Dumas, and Beverly Naya. So in my previous video that I did of a review, it was The Perfect Picture 10 Years Later. Both Jocelyn and Beverly Naya acted in that movie. So it was very interesting for me to see them in another movie together. I know that's quite common in Nollywood and Gollywood, and what do they call Kenyan movies? Kellywood? I don't know. Anyway, so it was interesting seeing them together in a much smaller cast. So Jim is now Jocelyn Dumas's husband in the movie, and Beverly Naya is Enina's girlfriend in the movie. Just give me 1 second to confirm the names, and then I'll be back with the rest of this video. Okay, I'm back, and I'll be anyways. So Jim plays Colonel Mayowa. Okay, I just have a side note. If it's spelled Colonel, why do we not say the L? Like, I remember when I was younger, I used to see that word. I used to be like colonel, right? Then when you watch all these movies and you hear people talking, it's colonel. Like, what in the ever-loving world of English is this sort of witchcraft? That's witchcraft. Let's just be honest. Okay, Jocelyn plays the character of is it Noni? I don't know if it's Noni or Noni. I'll say Noni. Beverly. Oh, guy. Oh, slap me, guy. I need to get my life right. The main cast is quite small, and I'm just going to read off the actors and the characters that they portray. So Jocelyn Dumas is there, and she portrays the character Omoye. Jim Ike is there, and he portrays the character of Colonel Mayowa. Enina Nwigwe portrays the character Tare. Beverly Naya portrays the character Temi. Okay, those are the main ones. Of course, there are other what do you call them, supporting actors and actresses, but I won't really mention them because they don't form like a core part and they don't have many scenes. So I'm just going to refer to them very loosely. Let's get into the review. Actually, it's not really going to be like a play-by-play review. It's going to be more so like a commentary where I discuss hot topics and give my opinions of scenes and apply them to real life situations. Okay, and as I said in my previous movie review, I am going to butcher the names a lot, and also I am going to just have this, like, you know, personify myself as a Nigerian or as a West African, even though I'm not. So it's not that I'm trying to be a wannabe, it's just that, you know, sometimes like things just jazz, that the accent is so jazzy in my opinion. So let's get to it. So it all starts off with this, with Omoye, who is Jocelyn Dumas, being in a meeting, a board meeting, where she at her workplace, and it's like it's like a form of editorial. I don't know if it's a newspaper, I don't know if it's like a magazine or whatever it is, but I think mostly like a newspaper. And she is a political journalist, let me put it that way. So she writes articles mostly about high profile politicians and does exposés on them and blah blah blah. So her boss is like talking to the rest of the group about being unhappy about the progress of things, and then like she protests, and then she gets fired, and then she she packs her stuff and goes home with her best friend, and then they're stopped along the way by cops who demand that they drive the cops over to the cop station. This is very common in Africa, not common in other parts of the world. So anywho, so she's driving the cop, very frustrated, very annoyed, because she hasn't been given like a reason as to why she's been stopped, a reason as to why she's being arrested or being taken to the police station. Again, something that is very common in African countries. Yeah. So as they're driving, they end up taking like a route that is familiar to her, and she ends up going home. And then he's harassing her, blah blah blah, and then turns out that it's a whole surprise party that her husband is trying to throw her, and so he's pranked her together with her best friend, and then they're celebrating and everything. And then after the party wraps up, he's like, hey, why don't we go to, like, you know, why don't we go on vacation and spend some time together as a couple, blah blah blah. So cause now he's a retired colonel, so now he wants to spend more time with her. And then they're like, oh yeah, let's go. Then they all go, and I guess since it was a prank, that means like she's not really fired. And yeah, the boss was in on the whole ploy. So she goes on vacation, and then she's just hanging out with her boo thing, but then she still has to publish her article, so she's working on the side. And then while she's there, like I said, I won't do a play-by-play. I'll just like hit the main points, and so that you guys can get the gist of the whole story. So while she's there, she actually meets she's chilling at the poolside on a day lounger, and then out of the water, a guy is like, he comes out of the water, like, you know, all like slow-mo, like ooh ooh, anywho, exaggerates. And then he's like, Omoye, is that you, Omoye? And she's just like looking at him like, I'm not gonna say a word. And then she gets up, and then he gets out of the pool, and then basically it's her ex. But then even before, in previous scenes before all this, when her husband, I think, was checking in or something, he was at the bar. Not really when he was checking in, after they had checked in and, like, you know, done the little something between the sheets, the horizontal mamba. He was like, he went out and he wanted to order some food so that he can take up to his wife. And then when he was at the bar, there was this guy who was also there looking at the menu, and there's only one menu. Surprise, surprise. I say surprise, surprise, because we all know why I'm saying surprise, surprise. Most places, actually, this is just like, why do you only have one menu? I beg, supply. Anywho, so then he takes it off it, they hit it off, they start a conversation, and then this guy, this stranger at the bar is like, yeah, I'm here with my girlfriend, I plan to propose to her this weekend or sometime during our stay. And then Colonel Mayowa is like, yeah, I'm here with my wife, she's the love of my life. Basically he's gushing, blah 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 blah. And then so he's, by the way, this Mayowa guy, the husband to Omoye, is very friendly, he's very chatty, he's just a very social guy. And Tare seems like he's more like reserved, closed off, based on their initial interaction. And anyway, so they become like associates, friends, you know, hotel friends. So then anyway, he goes up and then he takes this, the food comes up, he orders, blah blah blah. So that was like the night before. So the next day now is when Omoye and Tare meet. And then so during that awkwardness, that awkward moment that they're both having and the shock, her husband comes in and then he's like, oh yeah, this is my beautiful wife, the love of my life, the one I was telling you about. And then Tare is like, like you can just see the invisible daggers, like you're married type situation. And then his girlfriend comes in and then he's like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. And then they kind of just have like an awkward exchange. And then Mayo is like, yeah, why don't we go for some drinks, come join us at the bar. So they end up having drinks, hella awkward, but then it happens. Then as they're there during their stay, you can see there's this whole tension and confusion between Omoye and Tare. Like they're both unable to sleep at night, they're both thinking about what just happened, and their significant others are just like happy to be with them and just like, you know, wanting to have a good time. And might I mention that Temi, who's Beverly Naya, is convinced that that's the weekend or that's the time that her boyfriend now wants to propose to her, and she's already seen the ring, or she's talking on the phone with a girlfriend of hers and seeing, like, you know, trying to just have a basic chit chat, girl talk about how she's gonna act surprised, what she's gonna wear, how she should, like, you know, behave, because she's just so excited and she doesn't want to mess it up for him. She wants him to think like it's a total surprise. But she said she saw the ring, so she knows he plans on proposing to her. But then now that they've met the exes and everything, like, whew, I wonder what that's going to be. Is that going to be a monkey wrench that's thrown into the works, like, you know? And for me, I was just like, this is not good at all. Anywho, so they end up so long story short, like in the movie you get to see flashbacks and present moments, right? And in the flashbacks we get now to finally see this history between Omoye and Tare. So what it ended up happening is, like, 5 years ago she ended up going for a writers conference at a hotel where he was a manager at, and the schedule was completely messed up and she was so frustrated. And then in order to placate her, he offered her I don't know if it's a free stay for the time that there was a delay, and a free meal as well, complimentary, right? And then she was just so pissed and she's like, whatever, I'm going to take it. She was not happy about it. And then at that time she was, I think, engaged to her now husband, but then things were like rocky between them. It wasn't really good. I think they were both so busy in their lives, or someone, the man, Mayoa, wasn't paying attention to her or giving her the things that she needed out of him. So anyways, in a moment of weakness, they ended up hooking up, and then they had like a torrid love affair. And at the end of the conference, whatever, she left and it ended there. So he was, for the remainder of that time, he was just left like clueless about what happened. She ghosted him, and it was hard for him to get over that or to even understand what happened, given that their connection was so strong. She wasn't forthcoming with the fact that she was seeing a man, and on top of that, she was a fiance. And yeah, so basically in that sense, I think she's to blame, because in the beginning she didn't reveal that information. So I mean, why get involved with someone? I thought that was kind of selfish. Anywho, so during the hotel stay, right now in this new resort, in present time, they are trying to like resolve those issues, and obviously they can't stop thinking about each other. And let me mention something. Like, I said earlier that she was working on an article, right? But then for the longest time she had like writer's block. She didn't know what to write about, and she was on a deadline. Here at the part where she has writer's block and she's trying to get over it, and she keeps, the entire time they're there, she's not really participating in activities that her husband wants her to. And when she does, she's not like totally present. She's distracted by Tare. And it got so weird because, like I had said earlier, they developed like a loose friendship, right? So they wanted to hang out. They were playing pool, and then Tare beat him in pool. You could kind of see like it was personal, because it's like, okay, let me best you in this sport, and when I win, that means like I'm the better man. Like, it was kind of like I don't want to use another term that I had in mind, but it's just like male bravado that's just like so fickle. So then they decide like to even the score by playing golf and seeing who is going to be the winner. And as they're interacting and having guy time, like, of course that time Omoye is totally in the know, but then she just doesn't want to participate because it's awkward and it's a secret. She hasn't like told her husband what's going on or who that guy is or how she knows him. She's acting like this is the first time she's meeting this guy, blah blah blah. So she doesn't want to hang out with her husband because her husband wants to hang out with him, which I kind of found odd. I mean, they're supposed to have alone time and just focus on each other, but then they are making friends in resorts. Not that that's a bad thing, but then if that's the focus of your whole romantic getaway, it kind of kills the point. Or is it just me? If you guys were on a romantic getaway with your significant other, would you prefer just to do activities between the two of you and spend that time together the entire time? Or would you not mind including people that you met at the resort or whatever other form of trip you're on, maybe camping, maybe boating or whatever, sailing or whatever? Would you not mind interacting with people? Or like, would you want to balance it out? Where on the spectrum are you? Are you just you and your partner doing your own private things, you being completely social, or somewhere in the middle? Let me know in the comment sections below. So that's one thing that I found kind of weird. And then like now she was just like, okay, she passed on the pool thing and she was working on her whole article. But then now when it came time for them to go play golf, the husband was like, listen, I've been suggesting all these activities for you to do. Please, you have to be present. I need you to be there as my good luck charm. And then she's just like, oh, man, I really don't want to go, but just for your sake, I will go, just so that it doesn't kill like the vibe. So she goes, and long story short, the husband wins, and then he's like, yes, this is because I had my lucky charm here and blah blah blah. And then Tare the entire time, actually I think he lost the game just because he was taking the time to look at Omoye and admire her. And this entire time, actually Tyree spent more time with this other couple than he did with his girlfriend. I felt so bad for her. It was just like completely sad. For me, I'd have just like thrown a tantrum. For real. There's no way I'm going out with you and then like you're hanging out with strangers more than you are with me. That's a red flag right there. But then I guess she's just wearing rose-colored glasses thinking about getting married. Anywho, so I think after that whole golf thing, she says she needs to go back to the room, and then she excuses herself, and then the guy's like, oh yeah, I'm going. Actually, Tare is like, oh, I need to go and hang out with my girlfriend. I can't leave her alone. I've been out long enough, and she's gonna feel some type of way. And then Mayoa is like, okay, fine, I understand, you guys can go, thanks for coming, hanging out. And he's like on a good tip, right, because he's just won the golf game. And then so now Omoye is in the elevator, and lo and behold, who follows her there? Tari. And then as they're there, they have a moment, and he actually goes in for the kiss. And then he's like, oh, I don't remember what he told her, some reminiscing thing. And then she was just like, no, I can't do this, blah blah blah. Mark you, this elevator, like, it has a glass backing, so anybody can walk in anytime and see them kissing. And I'm just like, my gosh, do people like living dangerously? Shake my head. Obviously, after that whole elevator exchange, everybody is shook. Tare is shook. Omoye is shook. I'm shook. I'm just like, what? No, abort mission. But then anywho, they end up setting a meeting spot at a certain time. And then he's like, oh yeah, meet me at this spot at this time if you still feel the same way. Oh, Tare goes, Omoye goes to her room, and she's just like, no, I'm not going to go anywhere. Tare is just like, he is going to go for it, right? I've forgotten what ended up happening. Anywho, so long story short, during the night, I don't know, she's just feeling some type of way. She can't forget the kiss. She can't get him out of her mind. You know, her husband is kind of boring. So what ends up happening that night actually is that they end up meeting at the place and again doing the horizontal mamba. I hope I'm actually saying it right. Horizontal what? Mamba? Conga? Who knows? Whatever. You get the point. And then yeah, so she sneaks off, and then she sneaks back in. And I need to note that when she sneaked off, her husband definitely felt her, like her movement and everything, and he was just like, something fishy is going on. But then he didn't confront her when she came back. Actually, yeah, he did. He asked her where she went, and then she was like, oh, I went to the bathroom. And then it's like, really? Like, how long were you actually in the bathroom? Anyways, and then she's just like, oh yeah, I'm tired, and she went and slept. And then the next day, actually, like, now she's like working and sitting on a hotel couch or whatever, and then she's just writing, and it's just like pouring out of her. And then he's like, okay, you seem to finally have gotten over your writer's block. And then she's like, yeah, something or someone inspired me. And no, she just said, I just got inspired, and now I finally got my mojo back. And then she's just like typing away, and then obviously he's completely miffed. He knows something's up. She's just been acting really strangely of late. And then she just feels like there's something fishy, especially he just has this gut feeling that Tare isn't telling. Tare and her might have something going on, because like he wakes up, goes to the balcony, and he sees Tare like just idling and pacing forward and back. And then he's like, oh yeah, how's your wife, how's she doing, blah blah blah. And then it's like, is your wife feeling better? Because she had said earlier that she wasn't feeling too great. And then he's like, if I were you, I would focus more on proposing to your girlfriend. And then it's like, I feel like you've been spending more time worrying about my wife than your girlfriend. And then he's like, yeah, you have a good point, let me go. And I was just like, man, some people reach like the audacity to do something like that. But that's just me on a different moral high ground. So there's this guy who comes out handing flyers as they're having the conversation, and he's talking about how there's gonna be like a party at at the resort on Friday night or something like that. And then he's like, yeah, you guys should come out and hang out, blah blah blah. So that night they went to the party and everything, and they're dancing, they're having fun. But then like you can see Tare eyeing Omoye trying not to be too obvious about things and focusing on her husband. Then it's time for them, so they chill, they sit down and everything, and then it seems like it's quieted down, and then there's like a different activity. And so what ends up happening is like, it's not really karaoke, but then it's just, let's just say karaoke. And the song that comes on is like a love song by Banky W, I've forgotten its name. And then he goes up and he starts singing, but the entire time he's singing, he's just looking at Omoye. And his girlfriend at first, like she was like, you know, feeling the whole groove, and it's like, oh yeah, he's out there singing. But then she notices that his attention is on somebody else and not her. And then she kind of puts like 2 and 2 together, and before he can finish the song, of course, Omoye notices Temi noticing the whole thing and kind of like adding everything up in her head. And then she just bounces. When she bounces, he drops the mic and chases after her. And then Temi is just like, what is going on? And then it's like, now finally everyone is in the know that there's something suspicious going on between the two of them, and they want to find out the reason. And then the truth comes out. Her husband gets pissed and punches him, and there's a confession about what happened. And then that's when he gets punched out. And then Temi is just upset because she had all these high hopes to getting proposed to, and then she realizes that's not going to happen. And then she packs her stuff and, you know, asks what happened. And you know, that's the thing about chicks, like, you can be pissed as much as you want to be, but then you still want to know, was it me? Anyhow, yeah, so that whole, it's kind of like at the moment everybody's broken up, and she's trying to figure out now, what's her name? Omoye is trying to figure out, like, does she want to get married? She's torn between the two men. She's like, do I want this whole thing that's kind of like a new thing, or do I want to remain married to my husband who's kind of not doing it for me anymore? And then so they end up going to therapy. They're living apart for the meantime, and then they see their therapist, and she's still kind of trying to decide what she wants to do. And then in the end, the therapist just says, listen, you can't use this as like a way, you can't use this to chicken out of a decision that you have to make. You have to make this decision on your own. So she ends up going to this fancy restaurant, and then she calls Tari up, and Tari is so excited. And I was shocked, honestly. I was shocked, but there was a part of me where I was like, I actually hope her and Tari can figure things out. But another part of me was just like, it's such a cheap move to make. But like, you know, things like these are so complicated, you can't really judge someone. But then when you've made a commitment to someone, like, For me, that's where the problem is. If you're not happy in a relationship, it's better to just talk about it instead of doing things behind your partner's back and then it coming to bite you in the butt, type situation. So anywho, and she's like, oh yeah, let's toast, and then champagne comes in, and then toast to, and then he's like, what are we toasting to? And then she's like, let's toast to me and the love of my life, who is my husband. Because the only thing that, actually before that she talks about that, she's just like kind of fishing for answers, like, what do you want from me? And then he's like, I want us to be together. And then after that, what more do you want? Then she basically just draws this conclusion that the only chemistry that they have is physical. There's no emotional, there's no spiritual connection, there's nothing beyond just the physical. So she's just like, yeah, let's just toast to me being with the man of my dreams, the love of my life, who's my husband. And that time in the car, he's in the car, and then he takes out like a gun, and I'm like, what kind of madness is going on? Not here, not in Nigeria, please, not in Nigeria. There no be this kind of madness. And he had planted a bug in her purse. Hey, a bug in her bag. That's so hard to say. A bug in her bag. Bug in her bag. Bug in her bag. Yeah. And then he was listening in on the conversation, and then depending on if it went south, not in his favor, it would really go south for someone else. The question is, who would he actually put the head out on? Do you think it would only be Omoye, or would it only be Tare, or it would be both? Question. Talk about having nothing to lose. So then she goes back to therapy. They have therapy that evening after the mini breakup date. And then she's just like, yeah, I've made up my decision. I want to be with my husband. Not verbatim, but then are along those lines. And then he's really happy, they're really happy. And then towards the end, you just see like, just a garden wedding setting, and then you see like a groom, you see Tare there, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then you see like a chick with a veil walking down the aisle and everything, and I'm like, okay, plot twist. But then anywho, what ended up happening is like the veil is revealed, and then it's Temi, and she's getting married to Tari. And then these also the same setting with Omoye and Mayowa. And so I guess they renewed their vows. But the question that I had in my mind is like, oh, and I forgot to mention that while they were at that breakup date, my Omoye told Tari to work things out with Temi because she's such a great girl, blah 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 blah, and figure his life out. And then yeah, so the question that I had is like, would I really go back to someone who done cheated on me? No. Let alone marry them? No. So I was just like, is this really a cheap ending? I mean, for Temi and Tari, yes, I thought that was a cheap ending. Was it a better ending for Mayowa and Omoye? Yes, I did think that. But then I feel like, yes, this is an issue that happens in Africa. Like, there's a lot of affairs that happen within marriages and all that jazz, but then we don't really get to have that advanced or Western approach of therapy. Our therapy to get broken families and homes together is usually church. So I would have liked it if they kept it 100, but then that narrative is really old and not really helpful in most situations, because it's like, yes, you get back together, but then maybe the same issues keep coming back. So I love the fact that at least in those two Netflix films, they keep they keep it fresh, and they give new options to at least viewers that yes, you can have therapy. You can opt for therapy to deal with your issues instead of just repressing them or dealing with them superficially with church. I do believe that, yes, if you do have a relationship with God and both of you as a couple, spirituality is very important to you. If you're Christians or if you're whatever other religion there is out there, if you dig deeper within the virtues and the steps and the processes of becoming whole again within that community, within that spiritual context, I believe, yes, you can find healing, but then that would mean you have to go in deep. But then for the most part, people just have superficial religion, and that's the thing that really drives me up the wall. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that commentary. I hope you guys go out and check out that movie if you're a fan of Nollywood or Gollywood or whatever. And also, like, you know, just keeping things fresh. It's not always about Hollywood. You can explore other options. Now, I would watch Bollywood, but I don't understand that language. I'll try and look for ones with subtitles and maybe one day do a review. Is this a question that I had is also, is this kind of like stuff that you guys like hearing? Would you like to see more of these kind of reviews? Yeah, leave your comments in the comment section below and let me know what's good. Okay, that's it for me. I'm sending out because my tongue is dry and I have cotton mouth, so I have to go. Until next time, I'm shook. I'm just like, what? No, abort mission.